Jonathan Schulz, licensed real estate salesperson at the Corcoran Group, via the Miller Schultz team, written about in such fine publications as the New York Times and Wall Street Journal. Please consult them for all of your Manhattan-based or really greater New York area real estate
Brooklyn,
needs.
Brooklyn, and we do Westchester now. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm using my AirPods, and sometimes they're good, and sometimes they are
I don't
not.
trust them. I still have the connected ones on my computer. That's a future I'm not ready to join.
No, I don't disagree. They're certainly they're nice not having the cords, but yeah. Anyways, nice to see you guys. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. So since Barbara Walters isn't with us anymore, Joanne's pretty much helming all of the hard-hitting questions in America these days. And I don't know if you heard her, but she wanted to know if you guys ever had gender reveal parties.
Absolutely not. Yeah. I think those are the most ridiculous things that exist these days.
I was worried you did, and I wasn't invited.
No, it is such a look at me, give me attention moments, and yeah, I'm not even a fan of organizing your own birthdays. No offense to those who do that. I think it's a little ridiculous.
I'm sorry. You think going to New Orleans with 5 of your girlfriends for 3 nights is ridiculous?
Was that a birthday party of yours?
To be fair, it was a 30th.
Okay, all right.
I'm not going to give it to her.
That's nice.
Not going to give it. Don't give her that. But God, like, especially considering where you live, you must have been invited.
Yeah. Do you go when you're invited to them?
I have never been invited to one. I don't even know of anything that happened. I will say, I am, while a little bit on the cusp, I am much more Gen X than millennial, and I do think it's a generational thing.
Oh yeah. We apparently 13 years ago starts, huh?
I'm in my mid-40s. A lot of my friends are either my age or older, and I'd never even heard of it.
It's absolutely a millennial thing, yeah. Or a celebrity thing. And
it's weird because baby showers are still a thing. So it's just a second party that everybody does?
Oh, God, yeah. Absolutely. Got to layer it on.
Yeah. Well, think about all the parties in terms of getting married. There's an engagement party, there's the rehearsal dinner, there's the bachelor parties, the bachelorette parties. There's so many.
Yeah.
Let's celebrate me parties out there. Why not think of another one?
You know what else is new that wasn't when we were growing up is push presents for the mom. That like it's like basically the dad gives it to the mom for squeezing out a kid right afterwards or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
new. Which I guess as a husband I can understand, because you sit there doing absolutely nothing, and which is why I also don't really agree with husbands saying we're pregnant. But I didn't give a push present. I think I talked about it with her, and she was like, "Why would you do that? Let's save our money for other things," which I think is
it's interesting. I'm seeing a lot of more baby moons where the couple takes a final trip before the baby. But I'm like, is this fun for the heavily pregnant woman to travel?
I can't understand that at all. Right?
To not be able to drink while your husband gets wasted. Right. It's like preparing for the kid because you got to take care of a big one. I don't know. Instead of a push present, I think I would rather my husband take the money from, like, I don't know, an infinity diamond band ring or something and put it toward a wet nurse. Get me a live-in wet nurse for 3 weeks to wake me up when the baby's crying to feed. And I would be happier.
Do you have one that you want to get? I know Jonathan had mentioned the Maria Kondo one.
Let's do that.
It's a Marie Kondo.
Yeah, it's Marie.
You really are adherent. I wasn't sure if you were kidding about how much you liked Maria Kondo.
No, you know what I'll say about Marie Kondo, and I don't know if you want to lead into it, is that she has single-handedly helped a real estate agent's conversations with a seller more than you can possibly imagine.
Interesting.
Because the way she wants the homes to look, and it's not necessarily she wants the homes to look, it's more about how you feel when your home looks like that. But the minimalist look is how we want to show a home. So if we can use that or give that as a gift or what have you, it has really helped have that conversation of, hey, look how this looks, look how this feels. This is picture a prospective buyer coming in your home. This is how they feel when they come into your home.
Yeah, that scares me then. I've got a lot of boxes to get from my
Lots of tchotchkes.
Yep. But that's good to know. With high property prices at the world's most popular... Oh, no, this is the tiny apartments in Tokyo one, which I always like. The Maria Kondo one is Marie. Now I'm just going to say it. Well, now it's in my head.
She is not a governess in Salzburg.
She's got a new book out called Karashi at Home, How to Organize Your Space and Achieve Your Ideal Life. I'm so glad I could give her a plug.
I do believe it's pronounced Kurashi.
Kurashi. Is that another word that is being used?
Yes, so it's like it's another word like so you guys know Heige, which actually is pronounced Huga. You know, there's the which is a Danish word. There's another Danish word called that looks like it's spelled Leiki, but it's Luca. These are all words to talk about lifestyle and how you feel within your lifestyle. The Heige or Huga basically is about comfort and coziness that the Danes feel like they really enjoy in the dark winter months. Kurashi is just, basically lifestyle and how you choose to live. I like to liken it to if you have a cleaning person or if you get one every once in a while and they come and clean your place, and that feeling you feel right after your place is clean. Yeah. It's kind of nice and calm and feels really good. And you're like, damn it, I can't mess this up. I think that's kind of what she's going for, is that feeling.
Again, another person, though, that I think would be very difficult to live with, this Kondo woman.
But also part of that feeling is I can afford a cleaning person.
Yes.
So I'm sitting pretty.
That's also
But think about just when you clean your kitchen and the counters look really, really nice. Everything's put away. It doesn't necessarily about it's about how you feel when something's clean. Now, you may not be a clean person or a tidy person. I don't know. But I think everyone can respect when things look the way they should look.
And obviously, of course, a lot of it has to do with her. But have you noticed a trend with regards to properties that you're selling that really people are really embracing the minimalist thing? Is there just a lot less junk than there used to be, or do you guys have to do an intervention before you actually put it on the market?
Both. I think it's just the type of person. But I think people can change. I think my wife and I used to have a lot of stuff, and when we sold our first home, we got rid of a lot of stuff. We purged a lot of things. And also having kids, you can go one of two routes when you have kids, and you just get toys and keep mounting toys after toys after toys. And I always say they multiply like wire hangers. But being able to get rid of toys while your kids are still there is a talent. And I think just that feeling of not being overwhelmed by your kids' stuff or overwhelmed by your own stuff is a really nice feeling. But no, I think there's certain people. Some people like tchotchkes and it makes them feel nice, and they like seeing little items that they had from their vacations. And then some people just don't want it at all. But I think what it did is, like I said earlier, it allowed us to have the conversation, and it helped those people who don't live like that understand a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You want to give them a space that they can picture in their mind. I can make this my own rather than what.
Right. You 100%. You don't want a buyer coming in and being transfixed with Optimus Prime. You want the buyer.
Why do we
got
to personalize it? Why do we got to personalize it? First of all, he's in truck mode, so they don't even know it's Optimus Prime.
He's in truck mode.
The sad part is Joe and I have been doing enough of these fucking shows where she knows what Optimus Prime is now.
And I've actually
I put that into her life. We've done a couple of Let's Hear It From My Toys about Optimus. And so basically the whole thing is essentially she's just aping off her old live minimalist deep, but it's more of a life coachy thing.
Is it a new book about like a self-help book?
Yeah, it's a brand new book. I think it came out in November. Yeah, it's a new to come off of her previous one, like The Art of Keeping Tidy. This one is about your whole life and making meaningful choices, letting go of constraints, giving yourself time, holding space for what matters. Those are kind of like the basis of this book and the idea of living Kurashi, and I don't know if I'm saying it correctly.
Getting rid of the old Batmobile, basically.
Well, not necessarily, but if the Batmobile brings you joy, I think she would say keep it. But there's probably a lot of other.
It doesn't bring you women. I will say that. It brings like if the woman was named Joy, then no, it does not bring me joy. But the overall idea, I suppose.
Actually, sometimes I don't love when someone who's made a name for themselves in one niche kind of market It's like, let me do more, let me expand. But this actually does make sense for her to go from organizing your home to organizing your life. Because, right, like if your space is chaos, you can't, your brain is probably chaos too. And then if you're working on yourself, but your home is chaos, like they need to be in sync with each other. So it does actually feel like the right transition and probably like a nice companion book, right?
Yeah,
if you know someone who needs, like if you think about Hoarders too, if you've ever watched those shows, I love them. It's so emotional. It's not about the things. It really is about the person, the trauma they went through, stuff they're working through. And that's where the meaning comes from. So, yeah.
Those are one of those.
I think it's all deep down psychological things. I mean, come on. There's some certain people who grew up living in a messy house, and then they, from the rest of their lives, have to have neat and order. And then the exact opposite, or people who just live like they grew up, where they lived in a messy house and they're gonna have a messy house. So it's all psychological, and it's all deep within your head on how you live. And I do think there are parts of people that can change over time. And I think you can, once you start living one way and you start realizing the benefits of living another way, it can definitely help.
Is there an age group or neighborhood where you're finding that there's more hoarding rich people than others? I'm picturing either Upper East Side.
Upper East,
I feel like there would be some matronly woman with maybe a little corpse in the corner.
I think you'll see Upper East Side, Upper West Side. You'll see a lot of old money. You'll see a lot of people, back in the generation where having a lot of stuff meant you had a lot. So you're going to see just books, the amount of books that some people have just everywhere. And I think that's a little bit of look at me type of thing as well, that people don't want to get rid of because they're proud of their accomplishments and whether they read it or they have the educational background or what have you. But yeah, it's a lot of, that makes them feel happy. It makes them feel like they've done something. But yeah, there's a lot of clutter. And yeah, you'll see these homes, people live there for eons and haven't done one thing to keep their house up.
This has inspired me. I'm going to be doing a thorough cleaning after the show.
Well, you can't, this is a good segue. You can't have a lot of stuff in a tiny home.
You can't.
You physically can't fit it. I want to see pictures of this place. So.
Oh, here you go. You can do it.
A 95 square foot Tokyo apartment.
I can picture all of this in my mind's eye. I feel I could live this way.
Man.
Most people, Tokyo is one of the most populated cities on planet Earth. They don't stay in their apartment that much, but the lifestyle involved is also very simplistic.
With its high property prices in the world's most populous metropolitan area, Tokyo has long been known for small accommodations. But these new apartments, known as 3 tatami rooms, based on how many standard Japanese floor mats would cover the living space, are pushing the boundaries of normal living.
Wow.
The micro apartments, which rent for $340 to $630 a month, are a couple $100 less than other studio apartments in similar areas. Most of them are close to subway stations, which is a priority for many young people. Over 2/3 of the residents are people in their 20s who in Japan...
Where's that ladder going?
Probably to sleeping accommodations, right? Like you got to build up.
Yeah.
2/3 of the population, the average of young people, what they earn is $17,000 to $20,000 a year. So yeah, I guess you can't afford too much on rent there. In Japan, it's not customary to host guests in your homes, so that's not something you really need to worry about. They also work long hours, leaving little time to spend at home. So really, they're just sleeping there.
Yeah, I get it.
Crashing. Yeah. But there's certain things you can do, right? This one guy has a box that acts as a TV stand, which then transforms into a study desk and a kitchen counter. To clean the floor, all he needs is a lint roller. I find that so funny. Wait, what about showering?
She can't even do yoga.
Wait, what did they do with that?
She can't do yoga?
Uh-huh. Well, I don't know. Whatever that pose is, she can do.
You can do yoga. That's enough space.
Come on, Bill. God forbid.
They all have little loft areas for their bed. Well, now and again, you deal with some pretty pricey real estate, but I get I'm sure there's some interesting ways people make space in New York that you've noticed I remember when I first moved here. I was very close to getting one of those places where there's a shared bathroom and you just have the room, and it was like $500 in the middle of the Upper West Side. But it was essentially
I thought it was down in the West Village.
I believe it was Upper West. Actually, it was a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
I was with my dad at the time, and he was not psyched about that situation. But in hindsight, I feel like I could have dealt with it. This isn't far off from what a lot of people are tolerating in New York too. Any inspirational things you've seen as far as making the best of a small space?
Well, you saw in one of the pictures the guy had a ladder, and I think that probably went up to like a sleeping loft of some sort, maybe. You'll see that a lot. People will take advantage of ceiling heights and make additional living spaces kind of above them. But just transformational furniture, like you talked about, the TV stand that turns into a desk. You definitely see that in New York City, or things that'll come down. They're against the wall and they'll come down. You're always seeing people in New York City trying to maximize their space. It's not an unusual thing. In New York City, you have they're almost a thing of the past, but the SROs, which is single room occupancy, where it is like what you said. You have your room. There's a bathroom down the hall. There's kind of a communal kitchen and things like that. Those exist, but that's usually for a lower income, device that the city provides. Especially in Tokyo, you have to maximize the space, and it sounds like the incomes are very, very low for these people and their workers. I'd be curious as how long the lease terms are. If these are, 12-month leases, or what I would imagine is they're more short-term leases, month to month or 3 months at a time, 4 months at a time. I can't imagine, and who knows? I'm sure there are people who have lived there for decades, but
there's like that pod hotel thing. Yeah, and there's that big phenomenon in Brooklyn too of just communal living, even if you can afford something different, where people have like a communal area and they're all sort of.
Well, it's very much the college experience in the States. I don't know about uni in other countries, what their living situations are, but when you talk about SRO, I immediately think of like dorm rooms, right? Like you have your room, you bring your little shower caddy to the bathroom.
Yep.
But then as a result, I also didn't have to clean that bathroom, which was also kind of nice.
Oh, yeah.
There was someone who assigned in the building to do that. But yeah, I don't know that I could live in such small of a place, only because
you're tiny.
When you've had bed bugs before.
Oh, that's true.
Oof. You can't escape.
I imagine it's very hard to keep critters or little things out of a space like this if they get in. I was living in a very small apartment, a 5th floor walk up. There was no living room, right? So when I would come in, I would throw everything on my bed that was and my bedroom was maybe 9 feet by 9 feet, like very tiny. And as a result, anything I would track in would go right on my bed, and that's, I believe, how I ended up getting the bed bugs. So now I'm slightly triggered by small spaces.
Seven would always say that she felt that movie theaters were a breeding ground for bed bugs, and now it's always in the back of my head on the few times I go to a theater. But I've
always heard, and I might be incorrect on this, but I've always heard books as well. So many people buy the books on the side of the road or pick up just used books and things like that, but not a good thing to do, I've heard. Yeah.
Sure.
Good business for Kindle. Knowing that. One of the many knickknacks in my apartment that I've acquired.
What?
Christmas story lamp that Jonathan gave me.
Oh, yes.
I can usually keep it up after.
Long time ago.
Yes. Still works. Haven't changed the light bulb once. It's a Christmas miracle. But we've reported on this home before, but there is a feud that has just been solved over the Christmas Story house, which is currently it is a museum and it is being sold. But one of the flick's actor, one of the movie's actors, Yano Anaya, I do not remember any Japanese people in this movie, who played Grover Dill in the 1983 film, tells TMZ he sent homeowner Brian Jones a few emails on the heels of their November blow-up, but initially got no response. Brian got face-to-face with Yano, accusing the actor of being a scammer, loser, and piece of shit, referring to a GoFundMe started by a member of Yano's a Christmas Story group, which was launched to raise funds for the house. Apparently, Yano wanted to take over the digs. Yano's efforts to smooth things over and find out why Brian was so upset failed until a week ago, when Brian reached back out, agreeing to meet up for breakfast on New Year's Eve in Atlanta. We're told Brian explained his reason for the outburst, bringing up a ton of negative past and business experiences with people trying to take advantage of him to use the house. Brian apologized for assuming Yano fell into that category. I think there was footage of them fighting. I don't remember, but it might have been right outside the house, which is even better.
This sounds like a story that they just brought to the press. Why do any of us care?
I think because it was caught on film, maybe not. Yano says Brian feels that he and his group would be great potential buyers to keep the tradition alive. FYI, Yano claims his group has the money to score the pad and will show proof of funds this week. So we've got definitely for sale photos of the museum itself. Now, also,
My sister went, by the way.
What?
My sister and brother-in-law went to this house. We're a big Christmas Story family. So it was like the weekend before my wedding, which my sister's like, do you want to come? And I was like, I'm busy. They went. She brought me back a T-shirt. She said they liked it. But what's crazy is in the backyard of the house it's a fucking factory, which you don't see in the movie. There's like smokestacks and it's like very industrial, but the cameras were always at a certain angle, so you couldn't see what was right past the backyard fence.
Not the bumpuses, but an actual factory. I would assume that you're seeing all sorts of problems with selling something like this, which is basically a residence and a museum. I mean, have you ever encountered something like that before? Because you do live there, I guess. Uh-oh.
More of a museum than anything else. I don't know who would possibly want this, because clearly this guy's had it for a long time and I think has seen the headaches that it spawns and wants out as soon as possible. So whomever's going to be getting it is going to inherit that. And I mean, how much money and revenue does this actually bring in annually? I mean, who knows? But then you've got to live in that neighborhood or live nearby and take care of it. I don't know. It seems ridiculous to me. But and then especially it's an investment group that wants to buy it. That's all actors of the movie. Who knows? It doesn't sound like the most sound investment.
I'm assuming, and this is probably always going to be an issue if you're doing older places. I'm assuming this thing's a landmark now too. So there's only certain things you can do to it if you wanted to buy it as a homeowner, I suppose. But by the way, to your point, I love how they've angled every photo so that you don't see the factory in the back.
Yeah.
Well done, Christmas Story guy that owns the house now.
Wait, so did your sister, did they drive out there and it was specifically just to go see this?
They flew out. Spent
I am
2 or 3 nights in, where is this, Ohio?
Cleveland,
yeah. Stayed out there, but like they built a weekend away around going to see this house. They also went to the
Rock and Roll Museum.
What's
Rock
the
and
mall?
Roll Hall of Fame.
They did go, but the mall that they go to in the movie.
Oh,
Higbee's. Well, it's now a casino.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Wow. All things we don't want to get out if we're trying to get people over to that Christmas Story house. Factory, casino, probably a lot of
Bobby, aren't you always the one who's repping Cleveland?
I know, I feel bad now.
Yeah, it's the best.
I'm sure Cleveland's
the most Cleveland thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. Well, listen, give us your plugs, your promotions. Thank you so much, as always.
Oh, thank you for having me on. You can find us on the Miller Schulz team on Instagram. And if you ever have any interest in purchasing or selling in the New York City metropolitan area, give us a call.
Get rid of all of your stupid books, people. All right? Nobody cares what you read. And it's going to make it easier for him to sell it. Well, thank you, Jonathan.
Throw away your tchotchkes.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.